go.
What's going on, everybody? Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us for anything and everything rock and roll. Of course, with a little bit of ADD. I'm Zach.
You're muted, TJ.
I'm TJ.
And I'm
There
Robin.
we are.
And you're listening to Rock Detention.
I don't feel sorry.
TJ, how are ya?
It's been 2 weeks, so I guess I don't know how to do a podcast anymore.
I think we've all forgotten it. I was
God,
rushing
Steve.
through, setting everything up. I literally had to set everything up. We got out of the studio late, and then I hadn't eaten all day, so I ran to Whataburger real quick, and we're sitting in line at Whataburger, and I looked down at my phone, and I'm like, oh my God, it's 7:20.
Oh, dear.
So we're hauling ass back.
I think we pulled it off. Everyone's looking awesome. Hair game strong, everybody.
New shirt on?
And what's the new shirt?
Big Trouble in Little China, made famous by none other than Kurt Russell.
Ugh.
Righteous. Okay.
It was only $150 on eBay, so pretty good shirt.
Was it really
I'm just
$150? Oh, good lord. Dude, I used to, you know what? No, I'm not going to tell the story. Never mind. I had a t-shirt that was worth some money, and I no longer have it, but that's a story I'll tell some other time. Robin, catch us up with what's going on with you, man. Do you have something special that's happening, or that maybe had just finished today, possibly?
We just finished recording. We thought we had finished mixing, and then I found a little thing that I needed to change. Or actually, my mom found a little thing that I needed to change. And at first, I was like, nah, I don't need to change that. And then the more I listened to it over the week, I was like, okay, now it's really bugging me. Okay, I got to change it. So we met for the final mix session kind of a thing for my EP and looked over everything and checked it, and then redid this one little thing and added one little guitar part, and it's basically done. I'm going to take a listen. We're going to spend the rest of the week just kind of listening through and any minor little tweaks. But yeah, my EP is effectively done, and I'm super excited about it.
On behalf of Rock Detention and all of our fans, we want to say congratulations, brother, and we're so proud of you. And also, moms always know best.
They do.
So that's funny how your mom mentioned it. And you've been listening over the week. Like, yeah, I need to fix it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call that guitar part a little guitar part.
No. The thing that I was doing.
Whatever I saw on Instagram, I was like, dude, that's a cool. It sounds huge.
Dude, I can't wait for you guys to hear this. It's one of those things where when we were listening to it today, all of us were just like, oh my God, we did it. We actually got exactly what we were looking for. So
dude, so producers, everyone's happy.
Everybody's happy.
Awesome,
so,
dude. Congrats, buddy. Congrats.
And the title of the EP is going to be called Portraits. So we got a title today.
This is a tribute album to Def Leppard's Photograph.
Yeah, if only I could sing like him.
Oh, you can. You sing like a bird. TJ, tell us who our guest is this week, man. What's going on?
Oh, man. I'm really excited about this one, boys. And apparently he's excited, too, for whatever reason.
Well, we'll ask him when he comes on.
Yeah. So you might know him from Dangerous Toys. You might know him from Dirty Looks. You might know him from 99 Crimes or just about anything else he's done. Guitar wizard, great singer as well.
Yes.
So let's bring him on, Mr. Paul Lidel.
Hey,
What's going on, Paul? How are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Always good, man.
Living the dream over here, brother. Is it true you're excited?
Yeah. I'm excited to do the show. Good.
I don't know. TJ said it, so I just had to
He's like half
verify.
excited. Like he said in a text, so you can never tell text tone. So
I always tell if someone says that they're excited in a text tone, my brain is just like, I'm so excited.
That's
how I
would take it. It's always the extremes with me. You know, if someone texts me, it's always, especially if there's an exclamation point. Like, oh, they're really excited.
what about if there's 3?
They're screaming it at that point.
That would be.
What about if there's,
Oh man, that's exactly what we want.
Now,
Yeah. That's how you know somebody's excited if there's one.
Oh yeah.
I probably overuse these. I
think we all do. I try and avoid. I'll do it to some friends that don't do this, and they're like, okay. But you guys, I'm like, guys, that's my exclamation mark.
I found myself recently doing this a lot. Like when people are like, someone lets me like walk in front of, like if they stop their car and let me go, I'm just like, hey. I'm just like,
You hippie.
Yeah, I know. Austin's wearing off on me, man. Hey.
Either that or you're taking selfies. I don't know.
So Paul, how long have you to jump right into all of this? How long have you been playing with Dangerous Toys?
Since '94, since January of '94.
Wow.
I was in the band Dirty Looks, and we had been touring and stuff, and then that ground to a halt. And at that point, Dangerous Toys was my favorite band, and I was asked to come to Texas to come play with them. So that was pretty awesome.
Where were you living at the time?
I was in Pennsylvania at the time, but I had kind of been bouncing around for the previous 10 years. Like Dirty Looks played all the time, so we were always on the road. So anywhere I lived, it wasn't for very long, really. So I lived in lots of different places in Pennsylvania, California, all over the place.
Right. And when did you come to Texas? '94?
Yeah.
When you joined Dangerous? Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been in Texas ever since?
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. Man, I was rocking. I listened to on my run today. I blasted Dangerous Toys, and dude, there is some tunage.
Oh yeah.
Some great tunage, and I am a '80s hair metal fanatic, and I'm mad at myself that I didn't know more about Dangerous Toys when they were in my backyard my whole life. You know, are all the guys in Austin?
Yeah. I mean, well, not now, but the band was based originally out of Austin.
Right on. Well,
so that's where they got signed out of, and that's the home base of the band is Austin.
right
Now
on.
everybody's around, of course.
Are you the only one in Austin now?
Well, I'm technically in Georgetown, which is a suburb of Austin. So.
Sure. We call it all Austin. If you're in Georgetown,
Yeah.
Lakeway,
Yeah,
Leander, you live in Austin.
Or as some of us affectionately call it, you live in South Dallas. Like, that's the
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
That's funny. I've never heard that.
You've never heard South Dallas? Oh yeah.
I've been out of Austin for so long, man. I don't know what the cool
Like
kids are
3
saying.
weeks, dude. You just moved back to Nashville.
For people that live in South Austin, anything north of the river is South Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, see, now I know. I'll be able to make the jokes.
Well, cool. Well, it's funny. Like I play in the Texas country music world, and it still just weirds me out whenever I see Kevin Fowler, and I'm just like, you used to be the guitar player in Dangerous Toys. Like, it's just weird to me. Like,
I didn't know he
Yeah.
played guitar.
Kevin was in the band for about 9 months,
yeah.
and when he left, I replaced him.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I saw that. I was doing research today. I was like, Kevin Fowler was a guitar player in here. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I did not know that.
And the lady that I play with, she was actually the one that was like, Kevin, if you want to play country music, you got to lose the nose piercings, you got to lose the earrings, you cut the hair, like put a cowboy hat on.
I'm going to politely disagree with that because you just named every big country artist right now.
Let me rephrase. If you want to play Texas country, this was like late 90s, early 2000s. So that's a whole different ball of wax down here.
Hey, TJ, your cat is about to make me sneeze.
That's all right. Yeah, I can't help that.
Oh, man. So Paul,
Found new territory.
So you grew up in Pennsylvania, or was that just where you were at the time playing with Dirty Looks?
No, Dirty Looks was based in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But I grew up in Rochester, New York.
Oh, okay.
So upstate New York,
Yeah.
which is home of a music store called the House of Guitars. And the House of Guitars is like this world famous music store that is supposedly the biggest music store in the world. And the reason that I brought that up is because House of Guitars was kind of instrumental in helping Dirty Looks get the deal on Atlantic Records.
Oh, nice.
Wow. How long were you in New York?
And Dirty Looks was also signed in Rochester.
Wow.
We showcased in Rochester and were signed to Atlantic there. So I was in Rochester till '86, and I moved with 1 hour's notice out of state.
Wow.
Because we were getting the album cover done for From the Wire, which was first album on Atlantic with Dirty Looks, and there was a storm coming, and I remember Hendrix saying, hey, you want to be in this picture, you pretty much have to, you have to beat the storm in order to make it over the mountain, because there's a lot of mountains in Pennsylvania. So I moved out of Rochester with an hour's notice, threw everything in the car, and never went back.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
From there, we had a band house in Pennsylvania for a couple months, and then the album dropped, and we hit the road, and I was pretty much mobile for the next 10 years.
I have a question because
Yeah.
I've heard of bands. I know several bands who got their start by living together, or I know some bands that will go rent out houses on the beach for 2 months and bring all their equipment, and they write and record albums. What was your feelings on living with the band? Did you love it? Would you do it all over again, or was it a nightmare living with a bunch of musicians?
It was primarily Hendrik and I that lived at the band house, but we did all rehearse there. Gene, the drummer, lived in Baltimore, Maryland.
Gotcha.
So he would come and he would stay there for a little bit, but he still technically lived in Baltimore. And then the bass player Jack, he lives. His house is nearby. So that band house, along with there were several other times when Hendrik and I were roommates.
Right.
So get a lot of songwriting done, and
Was there any epic parties at that house?
none. We
Oh.
we didn't let anybody know where we were.
Okay, so y'all were like businessmen.
It was a bat cave. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hell yeah.
That was kind of smart. If that was a place that you rehearsed and kept all your equipment, that's probably pretty smart to not let just random people come over.
Yeah. So the thing about the house was, it didn't come with any furniture. So with our advance from Atlantic Records, we got these 18 Marshall cabinets that we toured with, 89, right? Or
Yeah.
88, 87. So that was our back line, 9 cabinets per side, pretty large looking. But it was also our furniture in the house.
That's awesome.
So, you would sit on a Marshall cabinet, and you would have a Marshall cabinet as your, as your table, and then this was a Marshall cabinet, and so it was Marshall furniture.
That's the best furniture.
Furniture by Marshall. I love
Dude,
it.
when I lived in Las Vegas, my bedside table was a 4x12 in a road case, and my other bedside table was a road case pedal board, and then my Christmas tree sat on a 4x12 as well. So I am all about.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Up until recently, my bedside table was a Marshall case as well. Handle.
It's smart, man. It's dual purpose.
It totally is.
Buy once, use twice.
Yeah. Yeah, I had mine was there was a point in time where I had my drum cases as like right beside my table and right beside my bed, and I'd use it as a night table, but I didn't last very long because I was using it so much. I was like, I don't want to lug this upstairs.
Mhm.
Now, back to, I read somewhere, were you in the band when Chris Caffrey was a part of it? Dirty Looks?
That was in no. To answer the question, no.
Okay.
That was
Different time.
Yeah.
Okay, right on. Small world. I know Chris, so and I read that he was in the band. I was like, oh, I wonder if they were together. So.
That was different.
Okay, righteous. Next question.
No, I gotta step in here because Paul, I used to listen to Dirty Looks when I was like 16, 17.
Oh yeah.
Like it was like one of those. It was like when YouTube was coming up big, right? And I don't know how I stumbled upon it. And I might have like listened to Dangerous Toys and not knowing you were in Dangerous Toys, but then listen to Dirty Looks. But it just all looped together because like that's when all the videos were getting uploaded. When YouTube came around, it was like all 80s. So it was just like this loop. I'd stay up till like 2 a.m, and I'd still go to school, but I'd be tired. But I like ended up buying like Dirty Looks like on CD, and I probably paid like $20 when I had like $19 in my bank account back in the early days because I was making a whole $7 an hour or whatever. But like that, like I could only find it on eBay. Like I'm sure, and like now with like Apple Music and stuff, like you can just click. But like I like to have the copy, and like I used to jam Dirty Looks all the time. So I was like,
they just re-released I believe a couple, 2 or 3 Dirty Looks albums on a different label. So some of those things, I guess they just bought the rights from Atlantic and re-released them. So they'll be easier, at least like Cool from the Wire and Turn of the Screw will be easier to find.
yeah, well, man, I know like Oh Ruby and it's like you got your big hit, but Wasting My Time was one of my favorites off that record.
Yeah, I like that one too.
I love that song. And then, so did you do guitar on Promise the Moon off the Dangerous Toys Pissed album too?
Yeah,
Promise the Moon's like one of my favorite Dangerous Toys songs. No offense to anybody else that played on Dangerous Toys, but Promise the Moon, like I always jam that one over like any Dangerous Toys song.
Yeah, I always thought that was a great song, and one of those catchy songs that what could have been really big.
I agree. I would say to me like I always thought when I found like the Dirty Looks album, I thought it was like early 90s. I'm like, oh, they got tied in with Firehouse or Trickster and stuff, and that was the last wave. But you guys were like right on the cusp, like 88, just a little before. And then like with Dangerous Toys, like 94, like yeah, like I thought Promise the Moon and I thought like Wasting My Time, like those two, I was like great songs.
Promise the Moon was on Pissed album, which was the first Dangerous Toys album that I played on, and where we went to the studio shortly after I moved to Texas. So I was in Texas for about, 2 weeks or something. And we played 1 or 2 shows. We played Texas, and then we played California. And then the next thing we were in the studio recording the Pissed album. And then we went on tour after that.
Oh man, like yeah, I really like. I'm telling you, like that's one of my like. I love a lot of Dangerous Toy songs, but that one is like the one I'll jam all the time. And if you two, not you, Paul, but you two haven't heard it, like that song, and it's like a simple little intro, like acoustic guitar, and then it just kind of kicks in, and it's just fantastic solo. The whole works.
Well, I texted you all of my favorites today. Paul, I was just texting one song after the other while I was on my run. I was like, oh man, this one's a banger too. Let's see here. Sticks and Stones. You fan?
Yeah, that's a good song.
I don't know.
Live very much.
What's that?
I haven't in a long time.
I haven't played it live very much.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Bones in the Gutter. Totally 80s banger.
Possibly my favorite Dangerous Toys song.
Ooh.
Yeah. So,
I love y'all's version of Feel Like Making Love. Awesome.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah. Now, the Pissed album that I was just talking about was after the first Dangerous Toys album, which was self-titled, and also the Hellacious Acres album.
Yep.
So this album was number 3. So I didn't play on those songs that you're talking about. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, right.
I was still in Dirty Looks at the time.
Righteous. Well, they're still great songs.
But they are great songs, and like I told you before, Dangerous Toys was my favorite band, and so getting to play with them was awesome, and it still is.
Yeah.
So 26 years now of
Wow.
playing
That's
with those guys.
crazy.
The cool thing about Toys is, other than me, everybody that's in the band now also played on the first record, and Hellacious Acres, and so it's been that original. There's not very many bands that have been around well over 30 years. That's all the same guys.
That's awesome.
That's true. On that note, rest in peace, Charlie Watts. Before we forget,
I was just thinking that. Not many
that
bands
one,
with the same members.
that one sucked today. That one.
I
Sucked
live
today.
under a rock. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He passed.
Yeah.
I believe he passed away last night, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
yesterday evening, and they
Well,
made
at
the
first,
announcement today.
I saw something like you know how you get the feeds these days. I'm like, oh, they showed a video of Charlie Watts because he's not on the tour this year, and then like an hour later, I was like, what?
Yeah. We were in the middle of listening to one of the mixes today, and I just my phone just happened to ding with a message on Instagram from someone I'd been waiting to hear from. So I opened Instagram, and my entire Instagram feed for like 20 posts was like just all Charlie Watts, and I'm like, no. So yeah, it was like, but
I knew he wasn't joining the tour, but like for him, oh man, like it was sudden. I get he was like 80, but it's still sudden.
Yeah.
Like I thought the Stones would live forever. I thought I'd be like 100 years old.
Well,
and the
no,
Stones would be like farewell tour, and I'd be like, well,
Keith
Yeah,
Richards and Mick Jagger will live forever.
yeah. Nobody would have predicted that Charlie Watts would have gone before Keith Richards.
Yeah. But if someone had mentioned to me, and maybe I'm hallucinating this in my own head, or mixing it up with someone else, but I believe that someone had mentioned to me that, like, I think late last year, Charlie had kind of started to stay home a lot and not go doing a lot of things with the Rolling Stones. So like when they'd make like an appearance or do like an online thing or whatever, he wouldn't do that, and that was when people were like raising the eyebrow, like, why is he not here? Like, what's going on? And then it all went away. And then when this tour started up, I believe it's Steve Jordan who's playing drums for them right now, who's my idol of a drummer. And that was when it was just like,
hits the hi-hat. Wonder if he hits the snare at the same time as the hi-hat, where he goes.
yeah, because that's what Charlie would always do that. And it's funny because I never got into the Rolling Stones when I was younger, but now that I'm in my 30s, and probably about 2 years ago, I really started to listen to like his playing, and I always thought he did that live. But when I'm like listening to the record, I'm like, no, he's just not hitting the hi-hat when he hits the snare. Like, why?
Yeah.
But it was his thing.
He wanted you to talk about it, so he was doing something different.
So it was really cool to read all the stories from different people who had met him over the years. And it was all basically the same thing. He's just extremely humble, extremely talented, and the one that was in every single one was that he was ever the gentleman. Like, always a gentleman. And I'm just like, okay. Like,
Take notes, Robin.
yeah.
Be nice.
Take notes, be nice.
I'm sick of saying this, boys, but how many different venues could you go to up in heaven and see some good shows?
Oh my God.
There's some musicians up there.
In the last, like...
Yeah, just lately.
Yeah, like we've said that like at least 10 times in this podcast, I feel like, and that's just with oof.
Yeah.
So let's get back on track anyways. Let's get some good news going. Paul, what do you got for us?
Over to you, Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
I do have a question.
How about shows? Upcoming shows.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say.
To talk about. Yeah. Dangerous Toys is back playing shows now. course, we didn't play during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But with things opening back up, a lot of the shows that got canned last year are coming back up. We had a lot of festivals and stuff that never that the pandemic did take out, but so this weekend is going to be Houston at a place called the West Winds. Next weekend is in Denver. So that'll be fun. The following weekend is in Minneapolis.
You're up in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, that's going to be a festival up there, and there's information and stuff on my Facebook page if anybody wants to see. And then the weekend after that will be the Dirty Looks reunion, which is going to be with Dirty Looks members that played on the Atlantic albums, Cold from the Wire and Turn Up the Screw, which is Gene Barnett on drums and Jack Pyers on bass. So, as most people know, Dirty Looks singer passed away about 10 years ago, and so just over 10 years ago, and so this show is sort of in a tribute to him and all the music that we all played together like 30 years ago, and so we're going to play a show in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania, and that's central Pennsylvania, and that'll be on September 18th.
Nice.
So that's going to be pretty fun. Having played those songs after like not playing them for 30 years would be interesting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are y'all doing a full hour? Hour and a half? Hour?
It's going to be a long show. We're playing a lot of songs. Now, the singer for this is going to be Jason from Dangerous Toys. Jason is like the biggest Dirty Looks fan.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's gonna sing. Hendrik would have, I believe, wanted that to be the case because he was always just really friendly with Jason, and like Hendrik would have Jason up on stage to sing at Dirty Looks shows, and Jason used to come to Dirty Looks shows a lot. So it was kind of a no-brainer. If we were going to play another show and have a different singer, it would have had to be Jason. And a good friend of ours, David Beeson, is also going to play guitar.
Very cool.
So,
Cool.
so it'll be an event.
Oh man.
Absolutely. Did y'all ever tour together, the two bands?
No.
Dangerous Toys and no. Okay. Right on.
Did you ever do like was it like the strip thing or something, like where it was like kind of still like you play the whiskey or something, then you go see somebody at the Troubadour or something like that, and that's kind of how like Jason and Henrik were kind of like, oh, let's go see them here or let's go see them there, or was it kind of just like a mutual? The more MTV rolled around or something like that, people started to know each other.
Well, Jason knew about Dirty Looks from just from the radio, and and hearing the Dirty Looks songs, and then when Dirty Looks would play in town, Jason would come to see us play. But when like I had mentioned that I was already a Dangerous Toys fan, so when we were playing, Dirty Looks was in Austin one night, and we all went before our show and caught Dangerous Toys playing here in Austin at one of the first shows on their LA Guns tour. So
Cool.
And that was the night that I met Jason for the first time, just backstage, and we stayed friends ever since.
Now
That's awesome.
back in the early '90s, what were the rock and roll clubs in Austin?
The back room.
I remember the back room.
Yeah, the back room was like that's where Dangerous Toys was discovered and signed and all that, and that's where everybody played, and that's where Dirty Looks was playing, and where we would play when we would come to Austin that same night. Dangerous Toys was playing at the Opera House, which was a much larger venue.
Where was that?
Oh shoot. Where was the Opera House?
Road, but remember where Austin Versal Complex was?
Arc.
Which
Arc.
The Arc.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Arc.
that's like Red River and.
Across the street from Arc.
Okay, righteous.
Yes. It was. Oh,
kind of that same period. That same part of town.
Okay, right. So it was downtown.
I believe it was Red River. It's around Red River and 11th. So where Symphony Square is now sits. I believe that the Opera House is around there somewhere, if I remember correctly. I was really young then, so.
Now that was around for a long time, and I think it's been shut down for quite a while now. But that was where like big shows were.
So those were the two rock and roll venues.
I wouldn't even call the Opera House a rock and roll venue. That was they happened to be playing there,
Gotcha. Now did Austin ever see like an 80s glam scene?
I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, you were 94, so I guess that was when it was over.
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my experience of Austin was just we would play in Austin quite a bit on tour. The tours would always go through Austin and
sure.
in Texas in general. Played Dallas all the time, Houston all the time.
Were you playing Trees in Dallas?
I played Trees a lot of times with Dangerous Toys.
Right on.
And
I love Trees.
Bomb Factory.
That sounds very familiar, but I've not been to the Bomb Factory. Is that Dallas?
That's Dallas also, yeah.
Gotcha. Right on.
I think the Bomb Factory was where...
Did play there before it was called Bomb Factory on the first tour.
I believe the Bomb Factory was where there was one point in time where you and I, Zach, were talking about going to see Steel Panther, and I believe they were playing at the Bomb Factory.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
We should have went.
Yeah, we should have.
Did you know Steel Panther played at Mohawk a couple of years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like during South by or something.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
They probably came through and played during South by when South by was like, for some reason, having all of these really big bands like Foo Fighters and whatnot playing these secret shows places. And yeah, there was like 2 or 3 years where like that was happening.
That is the South by Southwest that I miss. I miss that kind of stuff because now it's all corporate and people just want free food and free alcohol.
See, I miss the South by that was just before that. The South by that was like 2007 to about 2011, because there was this just influx of all of these unknown bands, and like The Darkness was discovered at South by.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Actually, my roommate can tell you about the show that they were discovered at.
Yeah, his roommate discovered them, bro.
No, I discovered them, and then they must have gone to South by Southwest.
But yeah, they were there was all of this new music coming on, and that was like every year you could go and when you would so my parents would get, because my dad works for the Elephant Room, so that's what I do is I work with the Elephant Room here in Austin.
This show brought to you by the Elephant Room.
Someday.
Smooth jazz.
The jazz club in Austin sponsors Rock Detention. Not really, but yeah. So when they would, the Elephant would get their list of people that is coming down to play there. The owners would get their badges, and they would get a playlist of like a sample playlist of like 200 songs from different artists, and so you could go through and listen to all these artists you've never heard of. Some of them you'd never hear again, and then some of them you've got songs from the self-released albums of people like The Darkness, the albums that they did that, and then they got signed, and all those albums are kind of like pushed down, not pushed down, but like they don't release those, you know.
You know what would be funny if the Darkness was discovered at the Elephant Room.
Yeah, right. That'd be.
That would really make me happy. Hey, I have some questions, Paul. That red guitar you play with the reverse headstock that looks like an Explorer or a Thunderbird, but it's not an Explorer or Thunderbird. What is that?
It's not. It's a custom-made guitar, and Scott Hoover, who also plays in Dangerous Toys, he's an amazing luthier.
Okay.
And, so he made that guitar. He asked me, "What do you want?" And so I said, "Well, you know, I really like the Firebird body shape, and then I really like that neck that you had on that other guitar." And so I sort of, you know, envisioned it, and he created it, and this is the one you're talking about.
Yes.
So
it's epic.
Yeah, and when I first got it, picked it up, and it just played great, and so it's kind of been the number one guitar 5 or 6 years now.
Understandable. It looks killer on stage.
Days, you know?
See, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that it means it's been used.
It's so.
I'd rather have that than a brand new one, you know?
Yeah,
it has character.
I don't worry too much about, you know, nicks and scrapes on it, because they're going to happen.
Yeah.
Of course. Just means you're rocking hard.
Yeah.
All right, another question for you. I ask everyone this. I know the answer. I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Let's see here. So, in the late 80s, going into the 90s, we lost our beloved glam metal. What band do you pin for, if you will, killing the glam 80s scene?
For killing it. I think it killed itself.
I
think
I could almost agree with Paul there.
I think when you get a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, eventually the integrity wears down.
Sure.
And, you know, it got to be like, okay, every album had to have a ballad. You know, every album had to have, and the first song that came out had to be a fast one.
Yep,
Second
hit it hard.
had to be a ballad. It was like, and you had to have this, you know, it was all cookie cutter. And as soon as, in my opinion, as soon as things get too cookie cutter, it set itself up so that anything else was a big fresh breath of fresh air.
Okay. So then maybe I won't use the word kill. What band brought that fresh air, in your opinion?
Fresh air.
Dangerous Toys in '94 when Paul joined.
You mean you're talking about like for grunge?
Yes.
Well, the fresh air, I mean, it was brought by Nirvana, obviously, but I didn't get Nirvana. I listened to it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't get it, until they did the Unplugged album, and then I listened to it. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it now. There's a lot to this that you don't really see on their, you know, first two albums.
Sure.
But I was, like, for the grunge thing, I was, you know, more Stone Temple Pilots and Alice in Chains. I thought was awesome. Alice in Chains was the one that really straddled the line between, you know, the 80s and the 90s, I thought.
Sure.
You know, I remember hearing their music back then and thinking, ooh, that's, you know, that's really different and kind of dark, and, you know, and then I listen back to it now, and it's like not all that far removed from some of the 80s stuff. So
Right on, right on.
I always loved Jerry Cantrell's guitar work in that band.
Oh yeah, and their harmonies, and you know, just that whole thing was I thought was awesome.
He also has a really
Well,
good
and
wah pedal.
Yeah.
Yeah, his signature wah
So-
is really nice.
Really? I've never played through it.
Yeah, it's one of the Dunlop. You know, Dunlop's got like that huge line of signature wahs. His is black and brass colored. It's like a.
I've seen it, but I've not
Yeah.
listened to it.
It's a cool little wah. We've got one at the studio I used to work at, and he would, because the guy that owned the studio, he was not a guitar player, he was a keys player, and he found that wah was the best wah for keys, so we'd always hook that up, and he'd be doing this crazy wah stuff with the keyboard. So
He put his keyboard through a wall.
through a wah, yeah.
Oh, that's neat. Right on. Righteous.
Yeah. I think we even hooked it up to the Hammond one time somehow. Like hooked the
Well,
Hammond into that and then that into the Leslie. I don't remember.
I'm telling you, boys, the Nothing But a Good Time book. I'm surprised Paul didn't make it into the book that I've seen yet. Anyways, maybe he's like at the end. But it's like all the interviews from all the dudes in the '80s. But like even like Dave Navarro's in there, and like they were in the '80s, like the Chili Peppers
Yeah.
and like Jane's Addiction and stuff. They were in the '80s. They just hadn't come out yet. So it was like the time bomb ticking. Like all the glam stuff was about to go away
Was it?
with that stuff in a sense. But I mean, at the end of the day, I like all those bands. So
Yeah,
I'm not mad,
James
but
sort of walked that line too. I thought
Who?
that's it's,
straddling the line between the the grunge and the
yeah. So like you had the good, like the Chili Peppers were coming and Jane's Addiction, but like that's not like quite grunge. And I love like all those bands that are all great musicians, but like it was like the '80s were like this, and then they just went. It was like the stock market. It was like Enron or something. And hey, no offense, guys, we can't have Enron on because I don't think they exist anymore. So that one we don't have to worry about.
Well, actually, I'm friends with the CEO, and he's definitely not coming on now.
Yeah.
Well.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers were definitely in the '80s. I mean, they had three.
You had to
three
look it up,
albums.
Rob?
Yeah, I had to look. I couldn't. I'm not gonna make that mistake.
I just told you, and Paul was there. So he could have told you too.
Yeah, but you were saying that you had said that like you had Jane's Addiction and all them, and they just hadn't quite come out yet. And I'm going, wait, I thought they were like in the '80s. Like that was a thing.
But I mean, they weren't like it wasn't like hey.
Well, they hadn't
like,
achieved that
yeah.
status yet. But
Correct, but
I was like,
even
Mother's Milk was
I-
'89.
I'd have to like it's one of those like you guys ever read books and then you like
Not really.
well you turn the page and then you go back to that same page that you just read to
Oh, yeah.
remember what you just read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I got to go back and read this because it was, I think Flea and somebody else were in a movie and then somebody used a Faster Pussycat song in that movie and it's so crazy how it was all like people knew each other and then this led to this. Some people made it, some people didn't, and now we have a podcast and we got a hell of a guitarist on this podcast.
I believe Flea is in The Big Lebowski. I think.
He could be. He's definitely in Back to the Future.
Oh my
Not the
God,
first
that's right. He is.
Second one.
Yeah.
And the third one, technically.
All right. Well, that's.
And then he's in Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore too.
Well, go ahead, Paul.
question for you guys, and I'd like to ask this question. What are the new bands that rock bands that are coming out that you're digging?
Work of art.
Oh.
Wow, they came out in 2011.
I'll go last, boys.
Oh
You go
God,
ahead.
rock bands that are coming out that I'm really digging.
Yeah, take it away, Robin.
Yeah, you're really
Jesus.
nailing this one.
Well, Work of Art is someone I just recently discovered. Absolutely love that band. It's like the perfect mash of yacht rock and 80s hair metal. It's just this.
Let me help you describe it, Paul, because Robin's gonna take his time apparently. He's very excited. But there's the lead singer. They're like a Scandinavian. Well, technically they're an Italy band. They're an Italy band, and then there's Lineville, the Italy band. There you go. You don't even know. Anyway, so the
No, I think
lead
he's from
singer.
Sweden. The record label they're on is Italian. Frontiers is Italian.
Anyways,
Right.
great band.
Bands,
Yeah.
coming out of Sweden.
Oh my
and,
God.
So I'm gonna finish last. Whoever they don't take over, I'll tell you about some of those bands if you haven't heard of them. But basically, Lionville and Work of Art are like AOR bands, like that's what they call them, like just the adult-oriented rock. It just got that '80s flow. Like you could listen to it in an elevator, and you could rock out to it running. You could lift to that. You know, like it's just like a good mix. Great guitars, great vocals, harmonies, the whole works.
Cool.
Yeah. No, there was another band that I'd been listening to. One of y'all showed it to me.
Maybe Zach.
They have the Heartbreaker cover.
Steelheart? No.
No. Stardust.
Come on, Zach.
Stardust.
Stardust.
Yes.
That's another
Do you
one.
know Stardust, Paul?
Mm-mm.
Dude, they are new band right out of the 80s.
Yeah. The whole
They're
album is
awesome.
just so well produced. Yeah, those are the ones that are popping into my head right now, like as like a rock band that's new or new-ish that I've just heard of.
I'll have to check that out because for years I thought that rock was just sort of dying out and everything else was taking over, and then I got Spotify and got turned on to like all these new cool bands. It's like, oh no, there's great bands out there now.
It's alive and well, but usually over in Europe these days.
It's just dead in America right now. It's coming back though.
That's why we started the podcast. We're reviving it.
Yeah. All right, Zach. I gave a few of mine. What are yours?
Oh, so glad you asked. Hailstorm. Love Hailstorm. Oh, so good.
Pennsylvania.
What's that?
Out of Pennsylvania.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. They live in Nashville now, but I guess they're from Pennsylvania. Right
I
on.
just like to brag about Nashville.
I do. It's a great city. Hailstorm. The Struts.
Oh, I love the Struts. That would be one. Did they remind you of like a poppy queen at all?
Oh
Did
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, just great songs, and everybody is all playing for the song, and there's no showboating at all, except for what
The singer.
supports the song and the singer, right? Yeah.
Well, they're the singer.
He is a Freddie Mercury, not a clone, but close.
It's a disciple,
he-
definitely.
I need to watch some video of that, 'cause I imagine they're probably pretty great.
There's a video
Live.
that Zach showed me a while ago where like the band starts and the crowd's just kind of like, woo, all right, cool. And by the end of the concert,
He'll take control of the crowd.
Like that guy is amazing on stage.
Yeah.
He
Luke
can command
is
that.
solid.
The whole crowd was loving it at the end.
I got that feeling. Yeah.
I
need to watch videos.
could have partied with the Struts. Instead, I went to go get pizza.
Lame.
Lame.
No, okay, pizza, the Struts. I wanted
Struts.
both, but I couldn't have both.
The Struts.
Dude, you were probably eating outside of your intermittent fasting window anyway, so you probably should have
Pizza
chosen Struts.
or a memory that lasts a lifetime.
Well, I got both. I got a picture and then pizza. The double P. We're
There you
good.
go.
You took a picture of your pizza?
No, I took a picture with the Struts and then got pizza.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I documented that. The pizza, I don't remember though. So
See? Should have stayed with the Struts. You'd remember that night.
I doubt it.
So who else, Zach?
Other bands. Who have I listened to? Santa Cruz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've been around for. Yeah.
Well, how long have they been around? I mean, they're kids.
Well, so yeah,
Archie's like what, 28?
So 2013 or 12, they released like an EP kind of deal, and they were little babies. They're still young,
Yeah.
but
they were young.
now it's the new Santa Cruz with Archie, and they're still really good. But that original core was something
What's that
else.
guitar player's name that I love?
Johnny Cruz, technically.
Dude, he's a monster.
Is it the same? Is it anybody in the same? Is anybody still the same besides the singer?
Not anymore. I went through a couple cycles here, but the latest album was still like I was like, still got talent. I love the original core, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need a different sound, whatever. But yeah, I would take the original lineup. But the latest album still phenomenal, and but Archie for the most part released a new song early this year, Crossfire.
Oh yeah.
And I jammed out to it. It's sexy to say the least.
Right on. There's a band here in Nashville called True Villain.
Yeah.
And have you heard of them?
No.
Oh, okay. There's some buddies of mine, and I'm really excited about what they're doing. They got some cool tunes. So that's another new band. Nothing else is popping in my head because
You're not gonna say Steel Panther?
I was going to say Steel Panther. However, dude, they've been around for 20 or 30 years, man.
Oh, I mean, they didn't release an album until 2009, technically.
Right on, but they've
Man,
been metal
that's
shop.
like 12 years ago, though. Oh man, I'm getting old.
I thought we were talking like bands within like the last 5-ish years. But yes, I love Steel Panther.
Yeah, like the new up and coming, like Dirty Honey is getting a lot of notoriety. They're on the Black Crowes tour now. I like a lot of their stuff. A band I really dig is called Electric Mary.
Write that down.
And yeah, they don't even have, they have like, I don't know, less than 30,000 followers. But like that's a band where like every song that comes up when I have, on a Spotify playlist, and the song will come up and be like, wow, I love that song. Oh, it's Electric Mary. Okay.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'll check. If you had to give them an era, what era do they sound like?
70s, like later 70s, kind of earlier 80s kind of thing, I guess.
Right on.
So I have a question, and it's kind of for all of y'all. What are y'all's thoughts and opinions on Greta Van Fleet?
I was going to ask that question. So here's the deal. It's rock and roll. Yeah, they're basically sound like Led Zeppelin, but who doesn't want a new Led Zeppelin? If you can be that good, hell yeah.
Yeah, they're great. A lot of bands that try to do that, you get just slammed for it, but they seem to have
Sure.
sort of dodged that bullet, I think, and they're an undeniably great band.
It's funny that you mentioned that.
It's derivative. Some of their stuff is not as Zeppelin-y, but
It's funny you mentioned the getting slammed thing, getting the slammed thing for being a Zeppelin knockoff kind of thing, because that was how I found out about them. Was like someone on my Facebook was like, why is this Zeppelin knockoff getting famous? Like, it's all they are. It's just Led Zeppelin 2.0. Why are you trying to recreate the wheel here? Like, move forward and do something else. That's how I found out about them. And yeah, I don't know. They're just interesting for me to watch, because they're like the generation after us. It's like their Led Zeppelin, because I don't know many people in our generation that are like, oh my gosh, Greta Van Fleet's amazing, but like my nieces and nephews, like their generation, love it. And I'm just like, it's just interesting.
They're doing
a
beautiful thing then.
Yeah. So it's like I can't, even though it's not my cup of tea, like I'm good. I'd rather put on Led Zeppelin and listen to that. But it's interesting to watch how certain bands resonate with certain groups, and
when they started to hit, I was pleased, because it's like, oh, okay, the younger generation likes rock, and it's like, here's a rock band that's being accepted by this younger generation, and I was really happy when they started getting bigger.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah.
Well, their cover of Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna Come" is quite phenomenal too. It's one of my favorite Greta songs to jam.
I'll check it out. Mm-hmm. Man, Robin, what you just said just blew my mind. Like, that is, I never looked at it from that perspective. Like, we can't expect the younger generation to love what we loved.
Yeah.
Just like our parents can't expect us to love what they loved.
Well, so I ended up loving it anyways, because it's awesome.
I'm trying to make a point here.
Yeah.
but this may be what the kids are relating to, and if that means they're keeping rock and roll alive, then I say rock on, man. You know, I don't know. I maybe I'm getting too emotional or deep.
No, I think it's a good thing. I mean,
Totally agree.
there's
And
an organicness to rock and roll. There's an organicness to this music with which we started this podcast over. Like that thing of
Def Leppard.
the thing of humans getting in a recording studio and making music together. It's like that's a thing that in the last, probably in the last, like, I'd go so far as to say the last 5 to 7 years, it's stopped. Like it's just, it's so cookie cutter.
You just bored Paul.
Yeah, I
out
just
of
bored
here.
Paul out of here.
He said, "Later, dudes."
He's done.
But yeah, it's like, Zach, we've talked about, how in Nashville, it's like you come in, the session musicians come in, they play the song, they play like 2 takes of the thing, and like that's it. That's what you hear on the recording, and it's that's it, and they're just on to the next thing.
And it's perfect.
Yeah, and it's perfect, and it's not, it's not 4 guys getting in a studio, doing a line of coke, shooting a shot of whiskey, and going and playing Girls, Girls, Girls. Like,
Because that's exactly what Robin did this week in the studio when he was making his EP.
Yeah, how
He
do you
took
think
shots
an
of
EP's made, dude? Jeez,
yeah,
it's
So-
called science.
yeah, that's just how this shit's done, man.
Hey, Paul, is everything okay, brother?
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just my iPad's about to run out of power.
Oh.
Oh,
Because I thought of another band that I absolutely, I cannot believe I did not think of this band. So let me know when you're ready.
don't steal mine.
Steal it. Do it.
Steel. It's gonna be Steel Dragon, isn't it?
No,
That's-
that's
from
2000, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm living in the 90s or 80s still, so.
But yeah, to finish up that thought, Zach, yeah, there's several bands that I'm just kind of like, I scratch my head over. I'm just like, why? But, I'm not gonna sit here and tell someone, well, there are a few artists that we won't get into, but there are a few artists where I will like be like, really, them? No. Like, no.
I'm gonna have him on the show, Robin. Just to spite
Good, I'll
you.
tell them to their face that I hate what they do.
It'll come to the camera probably.
I think I just saw. Well, I mean, look, I'll wait till Paul gets back. I'm gonna look at my notes real quick, see if there's anything that I forgot to ask.
All right.
I still can't believe Kevin Fowler is an '80s metal player. That's still that was like.
The thing about him that always kind of wowed me is like, dude, why didn't you play your own guitar stuff? I mean, he had a guitar player in his band for a long time called Paul Eason, and that guy's a stupid good guitar player. I love that guy's playing, but I was always like, Kevin, you're a guitar player. Why aren't you playing? And maybe he did on his early albums, but ever since I've known
Is
about
Kevin
him,
a shredder or a rhythm guy?
I believe he played lead guitar. If Paul replaced him in Dangerous Toys, I would assume that Kevin was the lead player. So, yeah, why didn't he play his own lead guitar and stuff?
We will get that answer shortly.
We will get that answer. And he's back, ladies and gentlemen.
He's got his apple juice. We're good to go.
That was easy.
Can you answer the question about Kevin Fowler for us right quick?
Yeah.
Is he a shredder?
Yeah,
Or was
he
he-
could play. He went to GIT and stuff, but
I did not know that.
Neither did I.
he after he started doing the country thing, he said, yeah, I just play just 1-4-5 now, and he said I barely even use a guitar when I write.
Wow.
And yeah, so he just
Hey, he's probably making a lot more money playing 1-4-5, to be honest with you.
sure.
Oh, there was a period of time, probably about almost 10 years, where like, if you mentioned the words Texas country, Kevin Fowler was the first thing people would talk about.
Sure.
Like he was, and I didn't think about it until someone pointed it out to me, that because I was sitting there, I was like, they all sound the same, blah blah blah, and I was like, and then I'd hear Kevin Fowler, and I'm like, well, why did this guy get, become famous? I mean, beer, bait, and ammunition. Okay, I get it. But someone goes, because it's a shuffle. You can dance to it. He was the only Texas country artist for like a period of time that was doing like like you could actually like two-step to his music. I'm going.
Is that what it sounds like?
Yes, exactly. So, but I was like, okay.
I was just dancing
I get
myself.
I get it.
Okay, so there was two bands that I wanted to mention. The first I want to say, there's this new kid. I discovered him on TikTok. His name's Jairus Johnson, and he is like a cross between rap and rock, and he's like hardcore rebel, very almost kind of like punkish, and I think he's gonna do big things. He did a remix of a Papa Roach song, and they actually ended up getting a hold of it, and they re-released one of their famous songs with him on it. So that's someone I think you should keep an eye out for. I think he'll do some big stuff. And then the next one is probably also TJ's, but I was gonna say, okay, TJ, you can say it. I guarantee it's the same one.
Is it Crazy Legs?
No.
Oh, is it Reckless Love?
Nope. Mammoth.
Oh, Mammoth WVH. How did I forget that one?
Have you listened to that stuff, Paul?
That's great stuff.
It's so good.
Oh my
I'm
God.
so excited for them.
That whole album I've had on. How did I forget that? That's been like one of the few albums that I've had just like on repeat. As soon as that came out, I was like, yes, fuck yes.
And them being him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just him. I think he literally.
He did everything.
Everything. Wrote, recorded it, mixed it, and mastered it.
Wow.
And played all the instruments.
And yeah.
And all the vocals. I don't think. I think it was sort of a Prince situation where he played the drums and the bass and the guitar and sang and.
Well, I heard he does that live too.
Yeah. Right. No, he has a band.
I know he has a band. It was a joke, Robin, because I'm funny. All right.
Yeah, Robin.
Funny looking with that mustache.
Now this mustache is epic.
His the video, the first video that he came out with him being in the studio, and then there's several of him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really clever the way they.
Of course.
Funny.
Because he had like an argument with himself at the beginning of the video.
And like he was the engineer going, guys, that was great, that was fantastic, that was money, that was awesome. And then he turns off the talkback mic. He's like, awful, we can fix that, right? And the other guy who is also him is like,
it's gonna be difficult, but yeah, I think we can.
Dude, that is, dude, they are killing it. I mean, they're on tour with Guns N' Roses right now. One of my buddies plays guitar with him, and he's been posting pictures from the stage, and I mean, I'm super excited for them. They're gonna blow up. I mean, they've already blown up, but they're gonna do big things.
I'm so glad that he doesn't sound like Eddie, and I say that with all the respect in the world. But I love that Wolf has a tone of his own. Like when you hear the song, that's Wolf, and
Sure.
I love that.
Sure. And he considers himself a drummer foremost.
The what?
I said he considers himself a drummer. Primarily.
Really? I didn't know that.
And he just played bass in Van Halen because they needed a bass player.
That is too cool. Well, they deserve all their success, and I'm really excited to see where they go. TJ, what are your bands, buddy?
If you haven't heard Paul, I kind of just blew my cover. But Crazy Licks, I don't know, they've been sitting in the shadows over in Sweden for a while. They're awesome. Crazy, as it's spelled, and then Licks with 2 X's.
Yeah.
And then Reckless Love, who had kind of been on hiatus for like 5 years here, but now they've got a new single and a new one coming September 10th. So those guys, just poppy 80s, like their lead singer's David Lee Roth, like reincarnated.
Ooh.
Like,
Can you do the scream thing that David does?
He can sing and he can high kick. And I mean, Reckless Love's awesome. It's
I think, is that one of those bands where like they came up on my Spotify or Pandora and I sent you all a link and you were like, where have you been, Zach? I told you about them a year ago.
probably it's
Okay.
pretty much every band you send. Yeah. Like Robin sent the new Darkness single. I was like, yeah, Robin, that was been out for like 24 hours.
I love that David in the group that we were talking. David got the name backwards. Like he was, I can't remember the name of the Darkness song, but he texted.
It was like
back
Motorheart. What?
Yeah, he was like, "Who's Motorheart?" I was like, "No, it's the Darkness. Motorheart's the name of the song." Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Paul. TJ is kind of, well, both TJ and Robin. They're very hip to what's new, especially in the rock world, and TJ definitely stays on top of it.
TJ stays on top of it. Like I used to be really good about that, but in the last like 6 months, I've had just some projects to focus on, so I haven't been listening to everything. And so I love getting the little text messages, just like new music. It's like New Music Monday from TJ. Like here's your new
literally.
stuff.
And then 6 months later, they sent me the song, and I go, yeah, I sent that 6 months ago.
They send so much crap, I can't listen to it right away. And
you should have like your Zen hour of like, okay.
Zach, you know that you can go, and I just learned this. I didn't know this, but you can like go into the text thread and like see just the list of songs.
On the info?
Yeah, like
with
on the info
little
thing.
eye in
I
the
was
middle?
like,
wow, you guys are learning. I'm teaching you guys so much.
yeah. Like you can go into links and it'll just show you like all of the songs and everything like this is everything that TJ has sent us. It just keeps going.
Thanks, man. That's good to know.
You'll miss it. It'll be like a Cinderella song. Don't know what you got till it's gone. I'm gonna stop sending.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. I need this.
I don't love that song. It's not my favorite Cinderella song.
Well,
Wow,
it's
Zach, hold on. Did you just say you don't like something on the podcast?
No, I said I like the song. I said I don't love the song.
Okay, I got a question. Hey, Paul, this is sidetracking, but those are my bands, anyways. 99 Crimes, that's still going?
Yeah, we recently had a couple. We put out a couple new songs. We getting a new album going. But yeah, that we just released a single called "Chasing the Dragon,"
which is awesome. Yeah, that was.
I love the music video, the cartoons. Y'all are like cartoon characters.
They gave it took the video and made it. It's really interesting the way they did it, where cartooned us basically.
Looks badass.
That was kind of done out of necessity because the video was shot early in the pandemic, and so the director wanted to shoot it outside one at a time, and against the green screen, and that was the idea, so that we it was totally social distancing kind of video, and that's how that all that's where all that came from, rather than because the original plan was shoot it in front of a whole bunch of people.
Sure. I think y'all did a great job on it, and it's a killer song.
And you sing, right? Because you got some pipes on you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. People seem to like the debut album, so that was.
Yeah, where'd you come up with the band name? Where'd that come about? Because first of all, I love the number 9, and when you add more 9s together, I'm in.
Yeah. So I think the number 99 is very memorable, and I happened to come across this bottle of wine. It's called 19
Crimes. Yep.
Great wine.
It is.
I thought, well, that's interesting. What about just 99? And I wrote that down, and the next day I was like, that's kind of interesting. So I brought it up, and we ended up using that. But I thought that the wine was going to be something that nobody would know about, right? Just because there's 100 billion names of different wines and stuff like that, and I had never heard of it. So and then it turns out they have this giant marketing ploy, and it's just everywhere. So but so that's where the name came from.
You should steal their the little thing that they do, so you can download an app and like
the AR app.
It'll come, the little bottle will come alive and talk. You should do it with the album cover. You scan the album cover and then it like comes along.
Yeah. I didn't see any of that coming. I thought it was going to be, forever. Everybody would be like, "Wow, that is just so original," but it didn't work out that way.
Well, I like the name 99 Crimes. I think it's great.
Thanks.
It's more memorable to me than 19 Crimes. So.
And now we're never gonna get 19 Crimes wine ever again.
Well, I'm not really huge.
It's really good wine.
It is actually good.
It is.
I'm more of a bourbon drinker myself.
Now, and then my other question is, have you ever given Matthew McConaughey guitar lessons?
No, never met him.
I thought maybe University of Texas he'd come and go, all right, what's going on, Paul? I need some guitar lessons.
Is that how you think we talk, buddy?
That's how Matthew McConaughey talks.
It is how he talks.
So I'm not saying that's how you guys talk, but I did do an intro for you when you were missing at the airport. So
yeah, I know. I saw it.
That was funny. That was that was hilarious.
That's from this teeny town in the middle of nowhere. Matthew.
Oh yeah.
Oh, where does he live?
Well, he lives here now, but
yeah, where he grew up. I can't remember the name of the
town.
But
Gotcha.
I've driven
and I just read his book too. If you haven't read it, great book. I'm not trying to plug books, but that's 2 books I've plugged tonight already.
Quite the reader.
All right. In the sauna. That's about it.
All right, we talked about your upcoming shows. Did you want to tell anybody about your YouTube channel? What are you doing on your YouTube channel? Are you doing lessons on there?
Yeah, that's just an extension of, I teach guitar. And
okay.
So since the pandemic started, I've taught primarily or exclusively online, which worked out well because now I have students from all over the country.
Wonderful.
So that's really cool. And so the YouTube channel is just sort of an extension of that. So I'll get just showing ideas and concepts and stuff that, I feel people would benefit from learning about.
Sure.
So, I like to geek out on YouTube guitar, videos.
Sure.
So this was sort of the pandemic project. Everybody found themselves with some extra time. So for me, it was like, okay, time to start up this channel that I had been planning on for quite some time, but just been swamped. So
now was your time.
Yeah. So that was I took advantage of that.
Is your URL just youtube.com/Paul Lidel?
You can just search Paul Lidel and
okay.
And that come up,
Wonderful.
Cool.
Wonderful. And then I take it you're on all the Instagrams and Facebook and all that jazz as well?
I'm on Facebook. I not too much on Instagram.
You gotta get on Instagram, man.
Yeah, we kind of noticed. We tried to tag you, and it was like you posted once. You tried, and it was see ya. No.
yeah, I did. I stuck my toe in that water once, and I did. I don't know. I just never went for it.
It's all good. You stay very active on Facebook. You pop up on my Facebook quite a bit. So keep it up.
Facebook is sort of where I let people know about just the shows I'm doing and music stuff and stuff like that, and
right on.
Instructional videos and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I've watched.
I should be doing all that on Instagram, but I just don't.
You absolutely should. That is a huge thing on Instagram is people doing like short little 30-second, 45-second, 1-minute guitar lessons. You could build a really big following doing stuff like that. People eat that up. So you definitely may want to look into that.
So, yeah.
And then you can direct people from Instagram to your YouTube channel and vice versa. They can work in cahoots with each other.
I do need to do that. these days, though, there's no time for really any of that kind of stuff because it's all just playing and stuff. So.
Right on, right on.
Which is why we're even more thankful that you're on the show, making time for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bless you, sir.
You're gonna play?
I think we're about to wrap up in a second, so I was just getting my guitar ready.
Yeah, Zach's got to catch that John 5 show like a selfish man.
I've got
a shellfish.
A shellfish.
Are you gonna play?
Yeah, I played last week too.
Well, if anyone's in Austin, go see Robin's night at the. Where are you playing?
I'm gonna go sit in at Mozart's Cafe.
Right on, dude.
Yeah.
Robin, you're such a rock star. I'm glad I know you.
Dude.
Well, how about you, Paul? You playing tonight? Because I'm not playing tonight.
No, I'm not playing tonight.
Wonderful. Oh, were you about to say something?
No, I was just laughing.
Okay, right on. Mr. Paul, thank you so much for being here, brother. I would love to have you on again in the future because I feel like there's still so much we could brush up on. But
totally. Anytime, just let me know. I had a blast. It was great to meet you guys.
Thank you. And next time I'm in Austin, we'll have to grab coffee or something. Are you a coffee guy?
I am, yeah.
Dude, let's go to Mozart's, Robin.
Okay.
Seriously, I love Mozart's.
Yeah,
it's great coffee, and it's right on Lake Austin.
Took away my favorite dessert, though. They don't have it anymore, and I'm really bummed about it.
Okay, as long as they have the oat.
Yeah, you guys drink coffee.
Latte.
They have tea. I'll drink tea.
Right on.
Okay,
well, everybody who's tuned in, thank you so much for being here. Be sure to go and find Paul on all the social medias and go find him at his shows and keep in touch with him. If you haven't followed us, keep in touch with us. We're at Rock the Tension everywhere. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you soon, Mr. TJ.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Paul. Been a blast. Hope you'll join us again.
My pleasure. Anytime. Just let me know.
Good luck having some free time. So appreciate you with all the busyness you got, especially with Dirty Looks, Dangerous Toys, 99 Crimes. Like, I don't know how you have time. Like, I feel busy, but that's over the top. Anyways, yeah, go check them out on all that stuff. Follow, subscribe, like, that fun thing that we're supposed to say.
Smash that button.
Love y'all. You're awesome, Paul. Over to you, Robin.
Paul, thanks so much for coming on. I can't wait to go see you guys in concert. Dangerous Toys is one of those that I learned about them really early on in my discovery of 80s hair metal because I grew up in Austin. So everybody's like, oh, if you're going to get into 80s hair metal.
We do have an Austin show coming up playing, I want to say February 5th at Come and Take It Live,
nice.
Which is sort of a send-off show before we go do the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Nice.
I might come into town for that.
It'll be cold in Minnesota, so
you be here.
I might come to town too.
We'll go to the show. But yes, thank you so much for coming on, and we hope to have you on again.
Thank you.
And yeah, smash the subscribe button for those wondering, because you're all wondering. Yes, those are fully automatic Nerf guns in the corner.
Actually, no one was wondering.
They were.
Actually, I have the comments here, and someone said no one was wondering.
Oh, thanks. I need to change that. I don't even know why that bass is hanging back there. It doesn't work. So I need to change that. But yeah, we had a lot of fun, and we'll see everybody next time. So class dismissed.
All right.
Is this thing still on?
That was like the shortest you've ever played. Yes, it's still on.
Now is this thing still on?
Okay, I'm clicking the finish button.